Corpus Christi City Council meets today, water restrictions in Corpus Christi may be eased, and the Corpus Christi Hooks battle for first place begins tonight in Frisco against the RoughRiders. Today is Tuesday, July 28th, 2026, and this is South Texas Midday. I'm Spencer Chiak. The Corpus Christi City Council will convene today for a regularly scheduled meeting at City Hall. Item highlights include confirming improvement grants for Corpus Christi International Airport and increasing the cost of beach parking permits from $12 to $20. The council will decide whether to put a proposed charter amendment on the November ballot that would change the city council makeup in a variety of ways, from the amount of members to pay to how a member could be removed. The Corpus Christi City Council may also downgrade Corpus Christi's water restrictions to Stage 2. This comes after improved water levels from rain this past month. KEDT's Boscamp has more.
After once being weeks away from declaring a water emergency, recent floodwaters have pushed Corpus Christi's projected declaration date back even further.
For now, we're going to stick with this one for September of 2028.
That was City Manager Peter Zanoni during a media briefing on Monday.
Really good news for the community, and it gives us time to bring on our water supply projects without the stress of heading into a level 1 water emergency.
Late spring rainfall had previously moved the declaration to September 2027. Zanoni provided an update on the city's major area water reservoirs. Choke Canyon is now at 24%, up by about 16% from just a week ago. Lake Corpus Christi sits just under 32%. Zanoni also said that city water restrictions could be lessened as early as next week if combined capacity of the two reservoirs get to 30%.
We're at 26%, but based on inflows into Lake Corpus Christi, we expect to get into Stage 2 beginning soon, maybe this weekend, early next week.
He also added the city continues to move forward with $1 billion worth in water supply projects. I'm Boscamp in Corpus Christi.
A water projects update is also expected. The city will also decide if it will pursue a grant from Voices for Coastal Bend Energy to help fund the Inner Harbor Seawater Desalination Plant. The item was previously considered in June but was tabled. The project is projected to cost an additional $1 billion. Finally, the city will give an update on the possible addition of a Bass Pro Shop in Corpus Christi that was announced in 2024. City of Laredo officials are calling for a federal review of the Rio Grande border bayous after floodwaters tore barriers loose upstream and carried them through the city and shutting down traffic on the international bridges. Texas Public Radio's David Martin Davies reports.
At a press conference on Monday, Laredo Mayor Victor Trevino said the breakaway buoys could have damaged the city's water utility intake on the river.
The Rio Grande is our primary source of drinking water. If our water intake facility were compromised, Laredo has approximately only 8 hours of water storage.
Trevino is asking federal agencies, including the Army Corps of Engineers, to reassess the buoy program before additional buoys are installed. Democratic Congressman Henry Cuellar says the failure is more alarming because the flooding was not historically severe.
This flooding that we saw was mild, moderate. It wasn't like 2010.
Cuellar said the border buoys are not needed for immigration enforcement since illegal immigration dropped 96% before the buoys were ever deployed. I'm David Martin Davies in San Antonio.
Texas lawmakers are taking a closer look at a long-standing tax break for data centers. This comes after its cost ballooned far beyond what was originally expected. On Monday, the Texas Newsroom's Blaise Gainey reports that state senators questioned whether taxpayers are getting enough in return.
More than a decade ago, Texas created a sales tax exemption to attract data centers to the state. At the time, lawmakers expected it to cost about $14 million in the state's next budget, which covered the 2014 and 15 fiscal years. But now, with the growing demand for AI infrastructure, the Texas Comptroller's Office projects the tax break could total $3.3 billion in 2028 and 2029. During a state finance committee hearing, lawmakers like Senator Lois Kolkhorst questioned whether the state is getting enough in returns.
Madam Chair, I think we probably have a problem here.
And pointed to the relative few permanent jobs the companies receiving the incentive created. Lawmakers were also told Texas doesn't track the overall economic impact of data centers, leaving more questions about whether the growing tax break is delivering returns. I'm Blaze Gainey in Austin.
Washington imposed a 10% tariff Friday on Mexican goods that do not qualify for duty-free treatment under the USMCA. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum said her government will push for a long-term trade agreement with the U.S. that prevents tariff surprises. Reporter Stefania Corpi has more.
The tariffs followed Mexico's failure to enforce its ban on imports made with forced labor, though USMCA-compliant goods remain exempt. Sheinbaum acknowledged the difficulty of negotiating with the Trump administration's protectionist approach, but said Mexico wants rules of origin that strengthen North American manufacturing and benefit producers. After talks this week, U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer and Mexico's Economy Secretary Marcelo Ebrard agreed on the urgency of reinforcing regional supply chains, with another round planned for September. The measure could pressure Texas ports, raising costs for importers and manufacturers, slowing freight growth, and squeezing custom brokers, trucking companies, and warehouses in Laredo and El Paso. I'm Stefania Corpi in Mexico City.
Finally, in sports, the Corpus Christi Hooks are on the road in Frisco to begin their week-long series against the RoughRiders at Riders Field. The series will be a battle for the lead of the Texas South Division, with the 14-13 Hooks one game behind the 15-12 RoughRiders. First pitch is scheduled for 7:05. This has been South Texas Midday on your community-owned station, KADT and KVRT. I'm Spencer Chiak.